Dr. McKenzie, I hate you. Let me tell you why.
Sorry to hear that.
You're living my life. I always wanted to be a vet. I read your bio. This is crazy. So you were an English teacher. You fished in Alaska. You worked at a baseball card factory, which I imagine had the most wonderful smell in the world. You sold pet food. Then you decided, maybe I'll just go to the best vet school in the world, University of Pennsylvania, right there on Spruce Street, right down the street from where I used to live. You're still teaching. You're still writing. And now you're working with a bunch of other really smart guys that think they're very close to coming up with a drug that's going to be able to extend the life of our beloved dogs. You, my friend, you're in a class by yourself. Explain to us what the research you've been doing and give us the good news on this.
Well, I'm going to have to hire you as my agent because you make that sound awesome. Yeah, I mean, we are really lucky at Loyal. We are here because we are interested in helping dogs to live longer and healthier lives. And we've recently gotten an acceptance from the FDA of what's called RxD. So that's reasonable expectation of effectiveness. They have said that the evidence that we've shown them is convincing that the drug we're developing is reasonably likely to do what we want it to do, which is to give people more time with their dogs and give dogs a longer, healthier life. So, I mean, there's just, as a veterinarian for 25 years, there's nothing more exciting than that.
So give us some numbers. If you have a big dog, normally 7 to 10 years or something, and the smaller dogs will live a longer life. What do you think you can do as far as expectation of life?
I mean, realistically, we don't know. We're running a very large clinical study called the STAY study. It's going to go for 4 years. It's going to have over 1,000 dogs in it. So the largest and biggest clinical trial, I think, ever in veterinary medicine. And at the end of that, we'll know a little bit more about exactly what we can accomplish. We do know that some of the other methods that have been used to improve metabolic health in dogs, which is what our drug does, have extended lifespan by, 2 or 3 years, which is, 20% of a dog's life expectancy. So we've set the study up to see, hopefully in a 4-year period, at least a 1-year difference between the dogs getting the drug and the dogs on placebo. So, we're doing the science and we'll know more in a few years.
Yeah. Somebody was texting in. We went to the commercial break. They wanted to know if you're publicly funded or privately funded. I guess if it's stock or something, I guess they wanted to buy into this thing.
Understandable. No, we're a privately funded company at this point.
Yeah. So can you just sort of break it down in layman's terms, what actually this drug is doing to the dog's metabolism that's extending the life of the dog?
So I think a lot of us are familiar with kind of the things that go wrong with our metabolism as we get older, right? We get a little bit more fat around the midline and our cholesterol goes up and things like that. And a lot of the same changes happen in dogs as they get older. Sometimes they'll get different diseases than people do, but the underlying process of aging is very similar. And what we have discovered is through a process called caloric restriction, where we dramatically restrict calories, we are able to improve metabolic health and make dogs live longer. A study that the Purina company did showed that. The problem is that's no fun. That's no fun for the dog. It's no fun for me as the owner. Food is love, right? So we were looking for ways to achieve the same benefits of caloric restriction without having to, drastically reduce the food intake that your dog gets. And that's what this drug is designed to do.
So you're somehow fooling the metabolism to think that it's eating or that think it's being nourished, or somehow you're slowing down the process of how it's nourishing itself?
Exactly. Essentially, caloric restriction convinces the body that times are hard and it should repair and recycle and restore all of the systems and hang on until times get better. And that's why caloric restriction extends lifespan. We're trying to fool the system in the same way by convincing the body that it has been calorically restricted without actually having to cut back on feeding or cause dogs to lose weight. And that turns on all sorts of repair and recycling methods that keep the body younger, essentially.
Does the dog exhibit less energy because of this?
No, we shouldn't expect to see that at all. All of these are metabolic changes that are happening at a level that you're not necessarily going to feel. We can simply see them in the blood tests that we do, and hopefully in the outcomes where we get delays in age-related disease and a longer life expectancy.
We don't share a whole lot of DNA with a dog, but does this thing have, would it be applicable at some point to human beings?
I think that it's quite likely that it will. I mean, I'm a vet. I just care about dogs. That's what I'm doing. But mammals are all mammals, and we age in similar ways. Dogs turn out to be a really great example of aging that applies to how people get older. And so it wouldn't surprise me if in the long run this has implications for human lifespan. That won't be my problem. I'm sticking to dogs.
Sticking to dogs. We're speaking with Brennan McKenzie. He is a vet with the Loyal team. And I think where we see this story, Joe, is this in the Wall Street Journal?
Washington Post.
Washington Post, yeah, that they think they've got this drug and they're hoping to be able to extend. So we're not sure in how many years. I got to tell you something. There's nothing more heartbreaking. Joe and I were talking to the commercial break. That day, you have to make that decision to take that dog in. I mean, it's the hardest thing because at that point, you're playing God. There's pain. The dog is obviously can't take his own life, and you have to make that decision. How do you deal with that as a vet? Is it still difficult? You've been in this for a long time. When that person brings that dog in, what do you say to that pet owner to sort of ease some of that incredible pain?
I think it's important, as a vet and also as a dog owner myself, to recognize that final moment is an act of love, that we're doing that because we want what's best for, a friend who's been with us for their whole life and made a real difference in our lives. So I think I want people to feel good about the fact that they're caring for their loved one in the best way that they possibly can, and that they're essentially giving them a gift to not suffer.
I'm not asking you to do a direct plug. Well, actually, I am. I hear so many ads on television, radio, social media. What's the best food to give your dog? Because there's so many choices, and I'm like, I don't want to give the cheap stuff because I'm going to die earlier, but the other stuff's so expensive. Should I be making my own dog's food? I mean, what should you look for when it comes to just trying before your drug comes out and has great success and everything? What do you look for as a dog owner to be able to feed your dog?
To be honest, the biggest problem is what I said before, which is that food is love, and we love our pets to death. We overfeed them, and that is a significant driver of aging and age-related disease. So there are lots of good foods out there, and I think that people should maybe take some of the pressure off themselves to find the right one, because I don't think there is a right one. A good, reliable mainstream dog food, whether it's fresh or canned or kibble, all can be okay, but we really have to practice a little tough love and not give too much. Make sure that you take your dog to the vet regularly and check that they're in a good, healthy body condition.
Yeah. What else you doing other than this? You still writing?
I do. I write a lot of articles. I do a lot of our journal publications for Loyal. I teach at veterinary conferences, so they keep me pretty busy.
Yeah. Where'd you fish, by the way?
I was on a longliner for cod out of Dutch Harbor in Alaska.
Oh, my God. How old were you?
Oh, I was about 24, I think. Yeah, a little bit of an adventure after grad school.
Did it change your life out there?
I mean, it's amazingly beautiful. Alaska is gorgeous, and I wasn't cold ever for at least 5 years after I came back.
My son went up and fished Bristol Bay over the summer. He did gill netting. Oh, my God. 31 days on that thing. It changed him forever. Well, listen, doctor, we want the best. This research comes out. Everybody would love to be able to get as many years they can with that dog. If you could just get my dog to stop shedding, if you could come up with that on the side, I think you'd be the one to find that as well. Thank you, Brennan. We certainly appreciate your time, and we'll let you get back to all the great things that you're doing. Appreciate it.